Today, Brian and I are going to break down what official visits are, unofficial visits, and how to get official visits.
Keep in mind, it's called Junior Day because they were originally designed for rising seniors to come take a look at the program heading into their senior year of high school.
It's so crazy how different. There is no there's one way to do it. It's not, because every program is so different. These are things that coaches look at to determine should we offer this kid? This is what it takes. Everybody wants to be a beast until it comes time to do what beasts do, right? So you got to make that choice.
You're listening to the Football Scholarship Podcast, the playbook for parents and athletes who want to secure the best football scholarships possible. From securing a D1 football scholarship in the SEC at Ole Miss at just £5,700, myself, to helping 83% of the athletes I mentor achieve football scholarship offers and 42% going Division I. I've learned countless lessons that I'll be sharing right here with you. Join me and my co-host Brian Overton, who has 15 years of D1 college football recruiting experience, as we interview top experts, successful athletes, and discuss current recruiting trends. Together, we'll help you navigate the recruiting process so you too can achieve your dream of running out of that tunnel in front of 100,000 screaming fans.
If you or your son are trying to earn a college football scholarship, then going on visits is one of the most important parts of the recruiting process. Today, Brian and I are going to break down what official visits are, unofficial visits, and how to get official visits. And Brian here is our head coach here at Next Play, who has over 15 years of college football recruiting experience. So Brian, let's talk about visits. Let's share with parents what they are, how they work, and then ultimately how to go about getting official visits. So Brian, what's up, man? Glad you're here today.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's a question we're getting a lot now, with the season getting over with. This is the time of year where they run into each other quite a bit. And what I mean by run into each other, unofficial visits and official visits kind of overlap quite a bit during this time of year, and specifically after the first of the year.
Everyone's like, oh, well, what's an unofficial or an official visit? You got game day visits, you got junior days, you got a lot of stuff, different types of, just a lot going on, right? And so a lot of parents are like, what the hell is this? So do you want to let's just start by just breaking down the different types of visits, right? Let's take camps out of the equation because of the time of year. And let's just talk about, official, unofficial, and then maybe game days and junior days, where they kind of fall into that.
So, obviously, like we're talking about, there's a pretty big difference. Unofficial visits are pretty wide. There's a wide variety of them, right? They're called different things, but they're all essentially an unofficial visit. And all an unofficial visit means, if you break it right down to the foundation, is that everything's on the parent and the athlete's dime, meaning that you have to organize your own transportation to get up there, whatever meals and things you eat when you're obviously you have to take care of. So the total expense is the biggest difference between the two. Okay, so any unofficial visit, you're going to have to take care of all that stuff. Now, there are several things that are called different things. They're not called an unofficial visit, but they fall under that category, right? And a lot of those are, we just did, everybody just probably going on their game day visits. If you went up for a game and saw them play, or met with the coach, or didn't meet with the coach, or whatever, but if you went up to the game, they provided you tickets to come see them play. That's considered an unofficial visit, right? You're going to hear a lot about junior days coming up here after the first of the year. Hey, we want to invite you up for junior day, right? Yeah. That's an unofficial visit. You have to take care of all the travel, all the expenses, and things like that. And I do want to hit on Junior Day real quick as an unofficial visit, because keep in mind, it's called Junior Day because they were originally designed for rising seniors to come take a look at the program heading into their senior year of high school. But just keep in mind that we have a ton of underclassmen. I always did it as a director. If there were underclassmen that we had identified already, whether it be a freshman or sophomore or whatever class they were in, we would invite them as well to the junior day. So I don't want you to just hear junior day and say, okay, if we go up here, all these guys are in the same class we are and all this stuff. It can be intertwined in there. And I get that question a lot from parents that come back from junior days. They're like, well, it was a 2028 there, or a 29, so a couple things can happen. One, they can have them identified as a player they like as a young player, or he could have just been tagging along with the junior athlete that they like. He's on their team, a teammate or something, and he let him come with them. They let him come with them, something like that. So there's a lot of things that go into that. So I just wanted to clear that up as well. So junior days are considered unofficial. Game day visits are considered unofficial. Basically, anytime you go on to the campus or go visit them where you're taking care of all the costs and it's not scheduled where they can take care of certain things, it's going to be classified as an unofficial visit. So on the flip side of that, official visits, and this can vary throughout divisions, throughout programs based on budgeting, priority, and things like that. Official visits, that is when they are allowed to pay for certain things. And obviously the higher divisions you go up into the Division 1 level, typically they pay for the whole trip. Okay, whether it be flights, reimburse you for driving, hotel costs, all your meal costs. That basically the trip costs you nothing. Typically at most Division 1 level programs. When you get down into Division 2, NAIA, Division 3, and divisions like that, it's kind of based program to program. Again, based on their budget, their finances, and how they run their program. And it may, we've had kids have a little bit of everything, right? Some programs will pay for your travel. You may be, responsible for your meals. Some programs will pay for your room and your lodging, your hotel lodging, and things like that, maybe partial travel, whether it be airfare or reimbursing you for driving, and then the meals are up to you. So there's a lot of different ways they can piece it together. But the point is, they do have the access to pay for certain things legally through the NCAA as an official visit. Okay, that's the glaring difference. Biggest difference, for me when I was in the chair was the official visits are more targeted. Right, those are the kids you really want to get on campus, really want to spend more time with, and it's not so much a game day invite where you may have a ton of kids there and only 15-20% of them are real prospects that they're actually recruiting. And same thing for a junior day, like I just explained. Everybody that shows up to a junior day or a game day invite or camps or all this other stuff aren't necessarily prospects of that school. They may not necessarily be recruiting them actively, and that's for a lot of reasons. Okay, but the official visit, if they bring you on the official visit, all right, I don't think anything in this world is 100%, but I would say there's a really, really high percentage that they are obviously very interested in you, are actively recruiting you hard. Now, I get this question a lot about official visits. Can they invite you and bring you on an official visit without an offer? They absolutely can. You don't have to have an offer before going on the official visit.
Yeah.
A lot of programs like to give the offer on an official visit. Now, please don't go say that Brian said if you go on an official visit, you're going to get an offer. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is some schools wait to offer you because they like to do it in person. All right. They like for the head coach to do it in person or whatever the case may be. So they may bring you up there to offer you, but they also may be bringing you up there to check other boxes, right? Personality, family, all kind of stuff like that, just to be around you for a more extended period of time. Which leads me into the second thing is official visits are typically much longer than an unofficial visit. It's typically at a minimum an overnight, at least one overnight stay. At some bigger programs, it might be a couple of nights. It might be a Friday night, Saturday night, weekend type thing. But usually at a minimum, it's going to be some sort of an overnight stay where you get to spend much more time with the coaching staff. They get to spend a lot more time with you and your family to really get to know you, see if it's a good fit. So I know I just said a lot, but those are the glaring options between the two and how they differ from a case-to-case basis and program to program.
Yeah, I think you just nailed it, and that's the podcast. No, just kidding. You covered a lot there. I mean,
It's probably should split that up, but those are the biggest differences there.
no, and I'll just say from like a player going through it, like I went on an official visit to Jacksonville, and it was like it was a Saturday, Sunday. It was an overnight, and I got there, and it was a giant. The whole thing is a sales pitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even like the players, right? Like we stayed with players. You know what I mean? We all got assigned players. And then their job was to take us out and go to parties and all kinds of stuff like that and just kind of schmooze us. As a family, like when you get an official visit, it used to be you could only go to a certain number of visits. Now you can go to unlimited visits, but only one per school. So that's kind of an interesting little fact there that is different. Like before you could, was it 5? I think you could only go on 5,
Yeah.
I believe. Now it's unlimited. So it's a great opportunity to go get schmoozed a little bit and to really, like Brian said, get to know the coaching staff, get to know the players and, make sure it's the right fit for you. And then on the other side, what coaches are doing is they want to see how you interact. Like this is a big thing players and families don't get is like, it's also they're looking at you, like watching you. How do you interact with other players? How do you, if they're on the fence of offering you, how do you interact with other coaches? Are you engaged with what's going on? Are you just looking at your phone? Are you in la la land, right? These are things that coaches look at to determine like, should we offer this kid? Is this kid worth our time, right? And these are some things that are really important as a player and a parent to really prepare yourself for when going on official visits. I think obviously you did a great job, Brian, of discussing the difference between official and unofficial. And like you said, at the Division One level, it's going to pretty much everything's going to be covered for the most part. Division Two, Division Three, NAIA, a lot of them will cover a lot. They might just not cover travel, right, or something like that. And then as you get, into Division Three, some still do official visits. Some just use it for naming mechanisms to really show that they want you specifically. But there are some Division Three programs that cover a lot too. So it really just depends. Like, obviously what's opened my eyes a lot and meeting so many head coaches and having a lot of them on the podcast is just the difference in which everyone runs their program. Like, we have some NAIA coaches that are like, we give full scholarships. We have others that are like, we'll give you $5,000. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's so crazy how different. There is no like, there's one way to do it. It's like not, because every program is so different. And so even the terminology official and unofficial, as much as I have it broken down in the playbook here behind me, there's still variation. There's nuance because every coach is different. Every school is different.
If you're already spending thousands on personal trainers, nutritionists, private schools to help your son live his dream of playing college football, but he's not getting the exposure he deserves, and you don't want to let him settle for average, then you're going to absolutely want to be at this live training that I'm doing, where I'm going to share with you exactly what you can do to help your son to start getting 5 responses from college coaches every single day, from how to properly set up his social media profiles to when and how to post, to actually send the right messages to the right coaches so that they actually respond, and how do you respond when they do respond. So you don't have to spend thousands of hours trying to figure it out because you probably don't have the time, and so that you have everything you need to help your son be successful. So you're absolutely going to want to leave there. I'll leave a link below where you can register. Look forward to seeing you there.
And so I do want to talk a little bit about getting an official visit, because everybody wants the coveted official visits, and you should, because that means regardless of the level that they're really recruiting you. And sometimes you'll already have an offer and you'll go, and other times, like Brian said, they'll want to offer you, but they want to meet you first in person, right? And they want to get to know you and your family. So Brian, obviously a lot of our parents are asking this question, and we're helping kids get official visits. Let's just walk through some of the things that we're doing and discussing with them to help them get official visits.
I mean, it comes up a lot. Like I said, now it can happen a couple of ways. Like with a lot of our guys, a good number of them, honestly, it happens organically because the coach is already recruiting them and we know they're serious about them. So when the season's over with, the coach is already saying, hey, look at some of these dates, see what'll work for you. We'd love to have you up on an official so we can spend more time with you. So sometimes it will happen organically. A lot of times it won't. So what we work on our guys with is specifically, I can tie this into the last one we did together, last podcast we did, was highlight videos and finishing up your end of season tape and getting that cleaned up and all that kind of stuff. That's big with what we're doing with our guys right now, along with updating all their pitch emails and messages with updated stats and things like that. So we tie that in with, now we're resending out the end of season stuff. So in that messaging or in that back and forth conversation, we will have our guys bring it up and say, hey, coach, especially if they got feedback on the film, and in the course of the conversation, we usually wait for a response. You know what I mean? If we get a response, if we get any kind of response on the end of season tape, it doesn't matter what it is from a coach, we're going to coach our guys into eventually saying, hey, coach, when do you guys usually do your official visits? I'm trying to set my schedule up after the first of the year. I'm trying to lock in these dates. I'd love to get back up and see you guys and spend some more time with you guys. And that's how we plant the seed. And it also gauges their interest, right? Like, we have a lot of strategies that we use for certain things throughout the year that gauge interest, like real recruiting interest. This is the way we gauge interest for seniors down the stretch on certain schools, because if the coach is, a lot of time, our guys are doing really well with it, but they've really been working the program for a long time. But if the coach is interested in bringing you up, 9 times out of 10, he's going to get right back with us. Man, we're still working on those dates, or here are the dates we're looking at. Glad you asked, and then it starts the conversation, and then we just roll from there. Whereas if he keeps telling you, if you follow up and he says, oh, we're still working on the dates, or we hadn't decided yet, you can get the feeling when they start keep bumping you, you know what I mean? You may be on the board, but you're not at the top of their board. So now we can start adjusting schools and who we're actively attacking harder and things like that. So that's kind of how we coach our kids. At least plant the seed. If it doesn't happen organically, we plant the seed to make it. If we plant the seed, and it's either going to grow or it's not. And that's how we decide how to move forward with different schools.
think that's like, obviously it's important because a lot of people put all their eggs in like 5 baskets. You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
like, these are the 5 schools. And then, I even hear college coaches like they give that advice and I'm just like, guys, like, you don't understand. Coaches pivot on a dime. Coaches change jobs. Lane Kiffin on a dime.
Yeah.
Even when they're going to the playoffs. And so you just never know what people are going to do. And so that's why we're really big on targeting like 50 to 60 schools and doing the outreach properly and building relationships. Because like if you're reaching out to 50 or 60 schools, now you're probably going to build relationships with about 20, 25 coaches instead of reaching out to 5 and building 3 and then hope, you know what I mean? You're just really putting yourself in a bad position, and you're jeopardizing the whole process by doing that. And a lot of kids just unfortunately do that. Either they don't know or they do it because they're a little lazy, on doing the outreach and just the whole process in general, because it is a lot of work. But if you want to have options and have good options, then you should be targeting more than one school. So
Yeah, and
this is a
the best example I can give you guys of that right now is a senior that we have now. He's been in the program for almost 2 years. So like he's worked the program as good as anybody we've ever had. But to just elaborate a little bit on what Richie's saying, we start with that many schools in the idea that like this kid that I'm talking about, one of our seniors, he's coming down the stretch here. He's a mid-year guy. We don't get a lot of mid-year kids, but he's a mid-year graduate who's going to enroll wherever he's going next semester so he can get in spring ball. But 2 months ago, he had probably 10 or so schools, 8 to 10 schools that were really interested. He ended up getting offered by all of them. And then he started to use this process to narrow it down, and he got it down to about 5 schools. And those are the schools he all had offers from. Had offers from all of them. Those are the ones that we spent that he spent his weekends and his time going on official visits to. We got them all locked in, and now he's starting to narrow it down. Well, he had a wide range of choices, right? You know what I mean? So what Richie's saying is that's why we start with so many, because it does dwindle down. You're not gonna have 50 schools recruiting you, but if you start with 10 schools, you may not have 3 schools recruiting you or 1 school recruiting you. So it's just it turns out to be a numbers game, and because we started with that really wide net, he was able to gather a decent amount of options, and then as the process went on, you just keep narrowing it. And it helps you make good decisions on who to go officially visit, who not to, because you still have to be diligent with your time and resources and things like that. So that's the best example I could give, like in real time right now, a player we've got going through it right now.
Which player is that, by the way?
Cade Stevens.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's killing it. Absolutely killing it. Yeah, I mean, look, guys, do you want to have 10 offers and do 5 visits, or do you want to target 10 schools and get 2 offers and maybe go on 1 visit, right? Like,
Yeah.
or 1
It's a numbers
offer
game.
and 1 visit at best. So,
Yeah.
it's a lot of work, guys, but like if you want it, then this is what it takes. Everybody wants to be a beast until it comes time to do a beast do, right? So you got to make that choice. Brian, I want to keep this podcast short, sweet, to the point. Obviously, I want to really make sure that we help parents and athletes here. And so I appreciate you jumping on. For those of you that are here today and you're like, Richie, I love this. I want all your processes, right? This is just one tiny portion of one play of 15 plays that are in the football scholarship playbook. And so I have a stack of these playbooks that from the book launch that we still have that we are actually giving away for free. All you have to do is just cover shipping. So if you'd like a free copy of that, just go to gonextplay.com/free. And if the page is still active, then you'll still be able to grab a copy. So gonextplay.com/free, and you can get a copy of the book there. For those of you that are listening on YouTube, we appreciate you being here. And if you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to listen to more like it, just make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification. And wherever you listen to podcasts, if you leave a comment and a review with a question, then Brian and I will address it. And we want to make sure to answer your questions. So the more that you do that, the better it helps. So appreciate you being here, Brian, and we'll see all of you on the next one.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Football Scholarship Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to subscribe and leave us a review. And for more free resources, or if you're interested in working with us, visit gonextplay.com. Until next time.